Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining everybody for another blind review. And today, unfortunately, is the finale of the blind box provided by Todd Ritter over at the Bourbon Road podcast. A few months ago, Todd sent me a box containing 12 samples, and he just gave me these samples so I can enjoy them. And instead, I turned them into a whole summer blind flight series. Everything that he's provided so far has scored between an 84 to an 89 on our scoring system. So it has been quite the enjoyable experience, but unfortunately, we are down to our last sample. So what do we have for the season finale of the Bourbon Road Podcast Summer Blind Flight Series? Stick around and find out. So thank you for joining, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. Ah, this is bittersweet, and the sun's going down. I got to get this done pretty quick here. But in this box, we once had 12 samples, and now we are down to just the final one at the bottom here. But before we get into that sample, let's kind of talk about the process a little bit. So here on the channel, we do have a robust scoring system comprised of many metrics that can be summarized as a flavor score, experience score, and a value score. We won't count value on these since they are blind, but I'm going to walk you through the process as we go through the nose and the palate. When we get to the end, we aggregate those scores to see what the final score is. And as I mentioned in the intro, everything in this flight so far has scored between an 84 to an 89, with the lowest scoring being the E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof and the highest scoring being a 10-year Redemption High Rye Bourbon. Now, to add a little more intrigue into today's sample, it is a small, what looks like maybe a half ounce sample bottle compared to the 1 ounce that I had for all the other samples. So either it's something that Todd just didn't have enough of, or it's something really special. I'm going to try to keep that out of my mind. But what it also means is that I only have a half ounce to go through this. So I got to be really efficient about my process and my tasting. So with that, oh man, I'm sad to see the series go. But let's get the last sample. I'm going to put this in my hand so that I cannot see the label. And what I'm going to try to do here is feel out where the label is. And then I'm going to avert my eyes and I'm going to try to show you this. And usually the camera does a good job zooming in, and I'll try to go real slow as I rotate through it. All right. So here we go. I'm going to look away, and then there is the sample bottle for you. So you get to know what I'm drinking before I know what I'm drinking. That way, as I'm navigating through this blind flight, you have a little bit more perspective on how to interpret my various tasting notes. So we'll give it another rotation here on this little tiny sample bottle. All right, now I'm going to grip it with my hand again. All right, and then what we're going to do is pour it into this treacherous black Glen. So not only do I have to review this without the benefit of knowing what it is, I've also got to review it without even knowing the color of the whiskey. All right, so we're in. Oh, it's such a small sample. Oh, this is going to be tough. All right, every last drop is in there, and then I'm going to put this in my pocket, and we are successfully blind. All right, so we're going to go through the nose first, then we'll go through the palate. Cheers, everybody. Time to check this one out. Oh, and if you're still here, hit that like and subscribe for me. Leave a comment, hit the hype. All the engagement helps push these videos forward so that more people can get this content. Help us grow the channel. That's really the best way, just the interaction. All right, back into the nose. Man, it's a pretty strong nose. It's fruity up front. Fruits are more in the stone fruit range, drifting into like a nectarine or an apricot. Not quite a peach, maybe a white peach even. It also smells like it could be finished, maybe even double oaked or toasted, because there's definitely a lot of oak presence. I mean, wood presence is really what I mean to say, because it doesn't come across like an older oak, but it's more like a fresh cedar going all over this thing. Additionally, getting a lot of powdered sugar and even a little bit of like a fried dough underneath that. Almost a glazed donut, really, as I think about how to articulate that fried dough and that sweetness that's coming with it. Yeah, like I'm really settling in on the donut shop, a glazed donut filled with some type of apricot or nectarine or white peach jelly in the middle with that cedar oak profile in there too. I like it on the nose. It's good. I'm just giving it eights across the board though. Eights on flavor, eights on complexity. Very curious on what this flavor profile is going to be on the palate though. So let's go in for a taste on the very limited taste I'm going to have here. I'm going to take out a lot of information with each precious sip. So let's do the first sip. Cheers. Yeah, it's a fruit bomb. Definitely a fruit bomb from the front of the palate all the way to the back of the palate. Flavor profile, very, very confusing there, but honey soaked stone fruits and honey soaked apples all the way through. I'm honestly not getting much beyond just different layers of fruits, juices, jams, and marmalades in my head. Oy vey, that's confusing. Let's go in for the next sip and let's start scoring this thing with the limited information that we have. Cheers, everybody. Up front, again, fruit bomb. There's a lot of spice that is starting to emerge, almost as if you're getting into like cinnamon soaked white peaches and those type of stone fruits and apples too. Cinnamon baked apples. Flavor profile, I'm going to give this an 8. Mouth feels really good, man. Like even upon that second sip there, like I could just feel it kind of permeating even on the sides of my tongue as these oils kind of continue to go through. It's very oily. When it comes to mid palate, gave it an 8 on the flavor, gave it a 7 on the complexity though. I mean, this thing is just kind of singular in its range. I mean, I guess it's got a couple different fruits going on, but it really is just a fruit forward whiskey. Little bit of that oak profile I was talking about starts hitting more mid palate too. And then as you get into the finish, I mean, the spice on the finish lasts for quite a while. You know, I was noting that spice that happens up front doesn't really happen mid palate, and then it comes back strong on the finish. In addition to that oak profile, and really all the fruits really turn into those cinnamon soaked apples more than anything on the end. So ultimately gave the flavors an 8, and then the length of the finish, I gave it a 9. Bit of a roller coaster ride on this one. I'm gonna give this one a 9 on balance as well. And if we aggregate all that together, we end up with an 84 out of 100, which has been the floor of this flight. We haven't had anything lower than an 84. So there's a couple different bottles that have scored an 84 in this series. Definitely got there in a very strange way. All right, let's see what we're getting into here, and then we'll learn more about this brand together before we close down this video. So the tiny little sample ended up being, oh, this is the Barrel Cigar Blend, 111.2 proof. I was just on a live talking about this with like JG. Trev reviewed this recently and he really loved it. That's a wild whiskey. Gosh, what all is this finished at? Now I'm even more confused somewhat. I am confused and I'm not confused. I guess the finish just took over everything for me, but I really wasn't able to get to that underlying bourbon at all, whatever that bourbon is. I'm not sure of any of the stats on this thing. All right. So we're going to pull up some image of this thing. Let me share screen so you can see what I'm seeing. All right. So here is what the bottle looks like. So Barrel Bourbon Cigar Blend. The font is too small on all these images for me to read. So I'm going to have to go to a different site to see what's going on this thing. Todd's got the proof listed at 111.2. And this is a release that came out in 2026, essentially came out around March or April. It's straight bourbon, aged 7.5 years to 18 years. What? Contains Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana bourbons, finished in Madeira, Armagnac, rum, and Hungarian oak. MSRP $85. I mean, good job on the Tennessee part of that, because definitely had no idea there was some old Dickel in there. Guess it kind of makes sense on the nose now, but I'm really getting more of the orange rather than that medicinal cherry. I mean, clearly in this tasting, the finishing just took over that whole tasting. There was a part in the back of my head that was like, it's almost reminiscent to me of some of the samples that I have gotten of Redbreast 27. Like that's the level of just fruit barrage that was going on there throughout that entire experience. So Barrel summarizes the whiskey around dark fruit, molasses, and warm spice. Its detailed notes include pipe tobacco, cedar, walnuts, leather, cola spice, dried cherries, dates, cocoa, clove, sweet vermouth like finish. Man, I mean, I was definitely calling out the cedar part of it with all of those fruits and them being just soaked in that cinnamon, which then kind of leads to that clove. I just wasn't getting all those different layers. That's a lot of different layers that they're calling out there. And I wasn't really getting any of that nuttiness. Man, that's a wild reveal. I know some people have been talking about this being like a whiskey of the year candidate. Clearly, I'm not there. I mean, I definitely enjoyed it, but the combination of those finishes with that Hungarian oak really created an odd overall experience for me. I don't think this is a bottle that I would buy if had the opportunity. So I guess it's a try before you buy because I'm clearly putting more conflicting information out there about this particular one. But as I said, some people are talking like this is whiskey of the year. That is interesting. So, have you had the Barrel Cigar Blend? And I really need to know what you think about it in the comments and what flavor notes you're getting, because that was a wild, wild pour and a wild finale to this entire experience. So, big thank you to Todd over at the Bourbon Road Podcast. Be sure to follow the Bourbon Road Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And just remember, while you can always find more whiskey, you can never have enough whiskey friends. So take care of those around you, and we will catch you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody.